started the fort on year 5. Meaning I've kept this fort running for 368 years. This fort, for anybody who hasn't seen it, is it's a cute little fort, you could say. Starts all the way up here. This is where the beehives live. Goes all the way down to the upper tavern levels, where we have our fountain. We have the fountain's drain, the outer walls, the main layer, the upper walkways, the bottom of the pit, which is the main living layer. Then down here is storage. This is where I put all the coffins. This is the maze that I built because I was bored for a week. This is where I generate power. The red stuff in the middle is a lava tube that goes all the way down to the center of the earth. This is eventually going to be made into a massive obsidian maker. Currently, it's just making crafts. That's metals. That's my magma forge. This is the upper cavern layer, which I cleaned with lava. This is the second cavern layer. I haven't actually found the third cavern layer yet because I just haven't gone down that far. And then all the way down here is where the lava is. And that's our lava hold, I guess, where we keep lava. And then that's the drainage for the tube. But the population in this fort is small. The amount of action is smaller. And the frame rate's slightly bigger than the population. But it's a lot of just like dwarven mental health, basically. Where are you taking that boulder? Really? You really doing that? Dumb dwarf. So yeah, that's what Longdeath is. So basically, Longdeath is just chatting with Dwarf Fortress in the background because, frankly, it's kind of no joke that not a lot happens in this fort. So, I mean, like, we trade 3 times a year or 4 times a year, actually. We trade with elves, 2 human factions, and dwarves. We receive tributes from other factions, and we hang out and build stuff. That's basically this fort. So. It's a pretty good time, though. I, at the very least, enjoy it a whole bunch. Currently, I'm doing a lot of prettying up and beautifying of things by putting rose gold and black bronze everywhere. Which makes me wish that I could search this menu very much so. So, yeah, if you have any questions about Longdeath, definitely have answers. Nope, I'm pretty sure they're all dead, Red Oct. So there was a good period of time there where every stream we would get a Forgotten Beast or 2. But we have left the Age of Myth, meaning the vast majority of them are dead. And this world is now pretty quiet when it comes to those creatures. There was a while there as well where we were seeing giants quite frequently. Now I just have a collection of giants and ettins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and minotaurs. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and cyclops. 12, 13, 14, 15 of them that all live in my maze. And they're fine. They're chill. They don't do much. I've kept them kind of as trophies at this point. Yeah, no. Most of that stuff's dead at this point. Like, it's like when you realize that like a lot of worlds spawn with like maybe 100 forgotten beasts, if you're killing like 1 every 3 years, yeah, there's not going to be many left by year 300. And generally, when there's a lot of forgotten beasts and you're seeing them frequently, you're killing more than 1 every few years. You're killing most of them every few years. Like, you can completely deplete a world of forgotten beasts in 15 years if you try hard enough. So, I don't know. Also, this is a very small world. There is, however, absolutely no... There is absolutely no necromancy in this world, because factions can expand post-world generation. Like, new forts can be constructed, roads can be constructed, underground areas can be constructed, all that stuff. But from what I can tell, necromancer towers don't. Goblins expand and all that. They start new wars, but from what I can tell, necromancer towers, at least at the current point, do not. But the current population of the fort is 49, but with temporary live-ins, we have up to 55, and we're not at war with anybody. As for the overworld, there's some goblins just south of us who don't know that we're here, who we're technically at war with. Some other goblins that we have no contact with. There's 3 different dwarven factions. This is one of them who we're at peace with. This is us down here. That's our mountain home, with the 2 hillocks next door. I wonder, actually. And then up here is the other dwarven civ, which is up there. And then there's the elven civ that I'm at war with, apparently. I'm not sure what we did to them, but there's only 2 of them, and they're very tiny. Then there's the humans that absolutely love me, and have this massive population. Then there's the other elves that we are at peace with, who live over here, who send me stuff. And we have unicorns, which we got from them. And then there's the other human towns down here, and apparently a thriving city of kobolds down here on this like long stretch of land. But that's basically it. Like, it's a very small world. With were creatures, I want to say that there was 1 were creature we saw super early on, and I haven't seen a single one since. Because were creatures are something that you see more commonly as worlds get older. The only vampire we've seen in this entire world is this one, who lives in this prison cell, and I think is actually the oldest entity in this fortress. Because he's immortal and became someone in chat might be able to even tell me what year he became a vampire, but I can fucking tell you what year he became a vampire. I'd have to like look at my gods, I guess, figure out what god he offended. Because I actually don't know. There you go. Year 121. Shin, Russet Amber, the Red Rocks, cursed the dwarf vampire Zaloro to prowl the night in search of blood in Longdeath. So that dwarf got cursed in my fort after a tantrum, and then went totally insane, doing their prison sentence. So they live in, like, a prison of their own making, basically. But yeah, that's Longdeath. But it's, this fort exists for one primary reason at this point. It's to kind of prove that, yes, frame rate death is avoidable. No, it is not inevitable. And you can absolutely keep a fort alive longer than 15 years. Because there is this sentiment that is very common on Reddit and the Bay 12 forums, more so on Reddit, but also on the Bay 12 forums, and the Steam comments, that if you start a dwarf fortress in DF, it will crumble into nothingness and be unplayable in 10 years. Because apparently this game is so poorly optimized. Anyway, this fort exists to kind of prove people wrong. It's like, no, you can make a fort last indefinitely if you know what you're doing. That is kind of the whole point of this fort. Eventually, we will dig down to the 3rd cavern layer, and eventually we will attempt to challenge hell, and eventually we will do all of that stuff, but keeping the fort alive for 1,000 years is the priority. So. And also pointing out that I will do the dwarf thing and dig deeply and greedily. Yes, but not until we hit like year 999 will I do that. And we will do it very carefully. Or maybe even like, or rather actually it would be 1004 would be 999 of the fort. Thanks, Hotman. If you have any questions about the fort, yell at me. We just swapped forts, actually. But, yeah. What did you say? I like the fighting arts. This is not a hardship for me? I must practice martial arts. This is such a hardship for me. Oh, well, you're a merchant. Oh, that's why. Can you see the frame rate somewhere? On this fort? No, I have frame rate disabled, but I can tell you for a fact it's about 30. I find the frame rate number blinking up and down absurdly distracting, so I disable it. That's roughly 30. Sometimes it dips down to 20. But, I mean, for a 300-year fort, 300-year-old fort, I think it's running pretty well. Also considering how much clothing we're making right now all over here, and considering we have flowing water, we have like solid or block of lava, we have stuff that's perpetually burning, we have like a farm full of unicorns, a farm full of cougars, and a farm full of cattle. Plus, every dwarf has hundreds of objects that they own and all that shit. Theoretically, the frame rate should be lower according to a lot of other people's incorrect statements, but runs just fine. There's also a few like kind of bonkers dwarves, like this one's nuts. Keep expecting this dwarf to die of starvation because they've been nuts for a little bit, but I haven't yet, so shoutouts to them, I suppose. Also, I wonder, are these up? Also, chat investments are open if you want to invest your tickets to anybody lurking. I slept in a bedroom. This could be bliss. Yeah, it could be. Could also not be bliss. You know, yes, it does. Do you need to do that? No. Just give the dwarves enough space so they don't need to climb over top of each other. The only time I use route pathing is if there's water that freezes the dwarves can drown in. That's the only time I use it. Venture mode just stumbled upon an elf wearing an artifact dwarf bone gauntlet. Trying to figure out how to steal it without killing the elf. What's wrong with killing the elf? I mean, also, why do you want a dwarf bone gauntlet? Why do you want a gauntlet made out of dwarf bone? That's kind of gnarly. Maybe that dwarf was a criminal and deserved to die. Maybe that dwarf was a good friend of that elf, and when the dwarf died of old age, the elf made it into an artifact. Just saying, like, maybe there's more to this story than you know. Perhaps they were kindred spirits. One of them went into a blind rage after too many drinks and cut the other one into shreds and made them into the gauntlet. But, yeah, I don't know. Your character's a little chaotic. Boring. Well, I mean, if you're a little chaotic, then just fucking kill the elf, man. Why are you trying to do it without killing the elf? Then, if you're a little chaotic, just stab him in the face. Problem solved. Unless you're like a hamster man and like 6 inches tall. And then it's just like, well, this is difficult because like, you're very tall, big you elf person. I'm going to stab you in the toe. I love that all the kids end up playing in here. Make this area into a like a clother's guild hall, actually. Not that bad of an idea. I don't think I have a clother's guild hall, so. Clother hall. Yeah, no established guild. Sure, why not? Constructive gaze. Sure, that works. All visitors welcome. Do I intentionally keep my population count where it is? For this fort, yeah. Usually what I'll do for other forts, like what I was doing in the fort that we were just on, is I'll set it to a specific number until I have like walls and bedrooms set up enough for 200, and then I crank it up to 200. But with this one, we set it to 55, and it's been at 55 since more or less the beginning. But we also haven't had migrants in about 250 years in this fort. We haven't had a migrant wave since the year 112, if I remember correctly. Also, Fearless. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Nice to see new faces around. Lots of new faces the last few days. I think it's because just more people have been streaming Dwarf Fortress. I'm usually like the only person in this directory for like months at a time, but recently like some of the other people who've played this game in the past have come back, which has been nice. Actually, some traffic in this directory for once. How many dwarves are nobles? We currently have the king of the faction, which isn't always the case, actually. And I need to make him 2 crutches. But we have the king, named Massive. We also have a mayor. We have our captain of the guard. We have a militia commander. We have a manager, a chief medical dwarf, a broker, and a bookkeeper. And then a couple extra militia captains. To make what? 2 crutches? Yep. Wood, crutch, 2. So, but the family tree for the king is not always in the fortress. So we had the king for about, I think it was like 130 years, and then he died of old age. And then we didn't have the king for about 70, and now we have the king again. We only just regained the king like 10 years ago or so. You love watching you some Dwarf Fort? Yeah, I mean, you only just followed me, so I saw that pop up. I don't have notifications because, like, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of hate it when I follow a stream and people are like, hey, person, thanks for the follow. I kind of hate that, so I let it be stealthy. Some things don't need to be yelled about. Now, subscribing, I'll yell at you. Following is silent. Yeah, I'm probably the most active person in the Dwarf Fortress directory and have been for the better part of, like, 3 years. At this point. We're getting up to there. Sal comes and goes occasionally. Zest comes and goes occasionally. Once in a blue moon, you'll get a Russ Money stream. Once every 3 years, you'll get a Verge Skelter Joel stream. But it's generally just me. There's some other people who are pretty consistent, but they don't stream as much as me. Like, every now and again, we'll get like a Pythania stream or an RNG stream. Cupo streams sometimes on and off. It's generally just me. Yeah, once in a blue moon, you'll get a Quill 18 stream. Quill does like a fort every 6 months or so. But Quill streaming DF is like funny because like Quill's a YouTuber primarily, right? So he'll stream for like 2 hours and then be done for the week. Whereas like I've been streaming for 7. And I've got like another 3 hours left probably. Today. So I rip IFAP to Quill 18. Yeah, there used to be a dude who frequented this channel a number of years ago named IFAP to Quill 18. Who got banned for having an offensive username. Like globally banned from the whole website. Never to return. Rest in peace, IFAP. Good dude. Hey, Adra. Speaking of good dudes. What's up, man? Nowhere near as much as me. Sal comes and goes, though. She hasn't streamed DF in the better part of a year, so she has been recently, but she vanished off into the worlds of random indie games for a year and a bit. So she's re-earning the streams DF a lot statement, but not in my mind yet. I like Sal. Like chill. But she did abandon us for a very long time. Neither ice storm about to hit on Thursday? Oh, that sounds fun. Sounds like it's time to Get the snow shovel and prepped. Out of cloth. No snow, just ice. Oh, like freezing rain? Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's stay home, shelter and cover. It's now summer because we were in spring. Saving. No repeat of last year? What happened last year? I mean, I know a lot of things happened last year, but what thing are you referencing specifically, Hobo? Your Patreon receipt is here. Yay. Just like froze solid? Bruh, the world keeps heating up because people are silly, right? So the more the climate gets fucked, the worse the weather's gonna be. Get used to it. Just like I get to get used to it being bloody hot in the summer. But with this in the background, hell yeah, mind. Enjoy your work and lurk. Isn't it like in the middle of the night for you? I didn't realize the power went out for that long. My gauge as to how well Texas is doing is Cringer streaming? Okay, Texas is probably fine. That's my gauge as to how well Texas is doing. If Cringer is not streaming, then they're underwater again. It is? It's kind of late to be working, yeah? Come on, dude. What the hell? But yeah, be safe, Phaedra. Do you know how long these storms are supposed to last, or prioritize playing with your daughter during the day? You just need to train your daughter to be a night owl like the rest of us. You know that, like, your fortress is old when they start throwing fucking bags into the refuse pile because the bags need to be disposed of. Like, my bags and bins are degrading. Not just clothing. For their survivability in the ice cube. True. True. Just say that they might need to, like, stay inside for a bit. Generally, like, the way it works here is when there's freezing rain here, we usually get freezing rain a couple times a year, right? Like, there will be ice storms a couple times a year here. Usually they just send out a weather warning via, like, the localized emergency to everybody's cell phone. It just says, stay home if you can, do not drive unless absolutely necessary. And then they send out a second one when it's safe to go out again. That last year in Texas was hit with a 4 to 5 day polar storm that wrecked the power grid. It was bad. Have they done any upgrades since then? I'm not hopeful that they would have, but that sounds awful. I'm sorry. Hopefully it's mild. 55 hours. The one in Feb last year lasted over 144 plus. Well, okay, 55 is like 2 days. That's not too bad. Upgrades cost money. That's what I figured. Upgrades cost money. Texas has steak, not money. That's not totally true. Texas has lots of money. Let's make them a stone stockpile down here. Also steak. Probably better steak than we have up here, frankly. We don't need clay. Add more wheelbarrows. Texas running out of steak would be like Mexico running out of alcohol again. Do you remember when that happened at the beginning of the pandemic? Where, like, there was that good period of time where it's just like, yeah, Mexico doesn't have beer. Because, like like Mexico was one of the only countries in the world that decided that alcohol was not like a necessary industry, so they just shut down all of the all of the breweries for like a good, it was like 3 months or something, and then they completely ran out of beer for a bit. That was a weird minute that happened. And then people were just like importing liquor illegally into Mexico. A weird period of time. Same thing happened in Australia too. They ran out of beer. And then like I remember seeing photos of them like opening up liquor stores again, and there was people lined all the way around the block, like up the street for kilometers. I just think that shit's hilarious. Anything made of wood or cloth or leather in Dwarf Fortress will eventually degrade down into nothing, Merc, including, except for walls. So if you make doors out of wood, tables out of wood, bins out of wood, barrels out of wood, they will all eventually degrade into literally nothing. If I jump up to, let's just say here, and then I hit Q, and I hover over my bed, or actually V, I think is the button. No, T is the button I need to hit. Aha. And then I find beds. You see those X's on either side of the beds? This bed probably has about 300 years left before it will turn into dust. And I've already had to replace the beds once because they got worn enough that dwarves were actually complaining that their beds were not particularly high quality. Corona Modelo Gold Chest, your Corona Modelo distributor still has issues with supplies of Modelo all the time. I only just started seeing Corona in the liquor store. Like, admittedly, I don't go to the liquor store all that often these days, but I only just started seeing them back in stock up here like a couple of months ago. There was a good period of time there where like that beer just didn't exist up here, to the point where people were making, like the local breweries were making like Mexican style lagers that looked like Corona with similar labels to sell more of them. Like Granville Island Brewing, which is one of the bigger breweries here, actually like made a line of Mexican style lagers and ales specifically to try and capitalize on that market, which I think is kind of hilarious. So, but yeah, I hope that Texas doesn't freeze to death. That's awful. And kind of scary. But lots of things are kind of scary right now. But yeah, we're trying to just clear all these boulders out, so it'll take a while, but we're making a dent in it, so that's good. Rory made friends. Who did you make friends with, Rory? Although Rory also says there aren't enough dining tables and I feel so ashamed, which is like the most confusing thing to me about this fortress. Do not understand the lack of dining tables issue. I think there are more tables in this fortress than any other fortress I've ever built. Yet they still complain about the lack of dining tables, so I genuinely have no idea. So if anybody has any ideas as to why that could be a problem, well, I'm all ears, because it's perplexing. Someone will supply. I think it's funny. To be fair, Mexican lagers are really good. But all of the Mexican lagers that I really, really like are not Modelo and not Corona Extra. Like there's crap, what's the name of it? There's an import beer that I find up here every now and again, which is imported from Mexico. And it's something hog, but it's just a Mexican lager. It's like Flat Hog or something. But not familiar with that one, no. What's gonna go in this place that I'm clearing out? Once this giant square is done, this giant fucking underground board cube, is done being dug out, it's going to turn into a obsidian printer. So I'm going to put one layer of lava on the bottom layer and then dump water on it, vice versa. I don't believe I've ever had Modelo Dark. I've only ever had normal Modelo. But yeah, we're going to be turning this into a obsidian room. So dump water into the or dump water and then pour lava on it, or vice versa. Most likely fill one layer up with lava and then dump water on it until it's all obsidian. Shut it off, wait for it to drain, mine out all the obsidian, do it again. And then we're going to rebuild the top half of the fort in obsidian, which is going to take me 10,000 years, but it's okay, I got 1,000, so. This fortress is all about really big, dumb, gaudy mega projects like this glass tube full of lava and this giant constructed above ground, up in the sky fortress tavern thing. So it's all about just building giant, big, massive forts. Get rid of that because that's all going to start molding pretty soon. But this fort ends up just being like essentially just chatting with Dwarf Fortress in the background. If you have any questions about the fort or dwarfs, I can answer them, but I usually end up just rambling about everything else. Speaking of rambling about anything else, I yesterday on my day off, I watched The Lighthouse. It's a fucking weird movie. I feel like I need to watch it again, but I also kind of don't want to. Who remembers the guys who didn't build the pyramids? Naturally, yeah. Who remembers the guys that didn't build the pyramids? I mean, I don't remember them, but I've learned about lots of people that didn't build pyramids. I mean, Canada didn't build pyramids, and I think you remember us, I think. America likes to forget that we exist sometimes, but... I do gotta say, though, Lighthouse is a fascinating film. Fascinating. You know, I think that we all owe audio a high five. So, it's the 28th that the very first resubs roll over into the next month for the top possible number. And audio, you are the first person to pop a 56th month resub. I think Hobo would have been, but he cheats. So, congratulations on being the first person to have that number of resub. Manifest Destiny is a good album. That's all I have to say to that. You can figure out what band wrote it. Snuck up on an elf while she was asleep and wrestled it away. Never even woke up. Excellent. Subscribe here. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for keeping that sub alive for a 56th month audio. Thanks for the ongoing support. Cheers, man. Is there anything else I can be working on? Whoop. Up to early summer. And why did I choose to do this with rose gold instead of black bronze? Because I've got so much goddamn black bronze, but I have no rose gold. Also, apparently that's constructed flooring. What? Okay, let's get rid of that. Also, hello, mysterious mystery me. Anyway, audio, how's your Monday going? Oh, yeah, I missed it, Nox. Here, I see it. You thought that happens when a dwarf sits down to eat? The chair happens to have no table in a cardinal direction, I think, no matter how many tables that specific chair had none. Huh. Interesting. I mean, literally every like table or chair has a table next to it, with the exception of a few very specific thrones, which are given to certain people. But I don't know. It's a problem that I've had with this fort for since its inception. Like since like the very early days of this fort, people have complained about lack of tables, and I do not understand. But fair enough. No calls today? Yay! Good to hear that nothing's, or no calls about things breaking. That seems to be a good thing, I would assume. Also, that's not blood on the ground in the middle of the screen. That's definitely wine. I can assure you of that. Where's my black brown? I have too many materials. I'll figure it out. Like the forefathers. I suppose. I don't know. I suppose. Anyway, how you doing today, Nox? What's up? What even is that? What material is that? Billin? Why do I have Billin floor? Okay. Apparently I've got Billin floors there. I don't remember doing that. You go back and watch the VOD from like episode 5 or something. Better than in a long time? Hell yeah. What, complaining that there isn't enough like chairs? Or complaining that there isn't enough tables? Family Thanksgiving? Fortunately, my family is fractured enough post-Thanksgiving that I don't think we'll have that problem. Like, the most people that we could possibly have in a room would be like 12. Back in the day, it used to be like upwards of 30, and now we all like don't get along as well. Not entirely true, but... But yeah. What are you picking up, child? Children have a bad habit in DF of not changing clothing out. But this one just did. It's kind of wild. Would the tables thing also trigger if an in-use table adjacent to multiple chairs? That's possible, and that was my suspicion for a while, so I like made a note to separate them. And I say, this sounds weird when I say it out loud. I did it like 100 years ago in game, and the problem continued, so I just kind of went back to cluttering tables again. But I've just got so many tables just like spread around this fortress that it doesn't, like, it just perplexes me at this point. And this is the only fort I've ever had that issue with. For years, the extended family had gatherings in the house, too small for everyone. So everyone, even air was at a premium and tables were worth fighting for. Yeah. No, I can believe that. That certainly sounds like the old days of family gatherings for me. Unfortunately, well, a lot of my family is getting older and they all want to retire. And large portions of my family are like, yeah, we want to move to the middle of fuck nowhere to have property for various reasons. So that's happening right now. with some of my extended family. Like, people are retiring and moving away, and I don't know why you'd want to do that. Like, for me, it's like, if you're going to retire and move super far away, isn't it then just like suddenly a time bomb until you have to move back due to health reasons or like getting older? But to me, that just seems like a colossal waste of effort. But I mean, if that's what you want to do, go do it. And then also, like, pandemic has made parts of my family not get along very well anymore due to vaccination issues. So, or lack thereof, I guess. So, it's fun. I've had enough of this gigantic family give me peace and quiet. I mean, maybe. Or, like in the case of my aunt, I just want to have land with horses, and land in the greater Vancouver area is expensive. So, because she's had horses most of her life and pays to have them stored somewhere. Which is, like, actually weirdly cheap, all things considered. At least according to your grandparents who did the same. Fair enough. I don't know. Our family doesn't feel that big anymore. Used to, but doesn't anymore. I just hope my cousin comes back to streaming at some point. He streamed a whole lot, and then life got really fucking busy due to people moving and pandemic shit. And then he just, like, vanished off the earth. And I was looking at his Discord the other day, because my cousin has a Discord for his streams. And there's a few people posting, like, every 6 months, like, miss you, man. Come back one day, maybe. Which, maybe one day he'll come back. You know, I think I just like this game too much because I'm at the point where I just get entertained by watching the dwarves just move around. Like, I don't even need anything to actually be happening on screen. Like, nothing important or of note needs to be happening for me to be entertained by this stupid game. Feels fondness remembering talking with a friend. Well, at least you're finding some happiness in your sad, depressing life. In midsummer, it's time to shut the fountains off. It's like an ant farm with drama. It's like a soap opera I control. Which is more or less, I guess, the same thing as an ant farm with drama. You successful and quietly distanced from all of your immediately family? There's parts of my family I love. I really like my mom's side of the family. Like, I really, really like my mom's side of the family. But even they have, like, suggested that they want to move away pretty soon to retire, so it's like, I'll be probably staying close to my parents for a while, because if I move anywhere else, I think my mom might have a heart attack. Little sister's too far away and has been too far away for too long, and my older sister's also far away and has been far away for longer. So, and before my little sister moved super far away, she was just far away. I'm the only one who's never really moved super far away from home. Kind of sucks. I think that would be fun for a bit, but now just disabilities kind of culled my desire to do that, I suppose. Tarn, have you posted the future of the fortress stuff yet? Nope. Come on, man. Let's gotta do that later tonight, probably. You have acquired spaghetti? Anything fun in that spaghetti? I'm probably gonna have spaghetti for dinner too. I have some asparagus and green beans. That'll go on the side. Asparagus has been really cheap recently. I don't know why. It's like everything has gotten way more expensive, but asparagus is like a third of the price as it was a few years ago here for unknowable reasons, I guess. It's like asparagus and artichokes got weirdly cheap. Worcestershire sauce, I mean, fair. I'm gonna be making my own pasta sauce tonight because I think I'm out of pasta sauce. But I have lots of canned tomatoes, so I'll figure something out. Go out into my sad garden because it's cold outside and find spices and got plenty of salt. Should be good. I'll make something work. Gotta use that food processor for something. Asparagus causes COVID. My actual theory is that international shipping is harder. So instead, because like the vast majority of like our local asparagus would get shipped away. So because like certain produce has gotten weirdly cheap. So I'm assuming that like anything that's grown even remotely locally instead of being shipped elsewhere is just being sold locally. It's probably good in the long run. Although cannabis prevents COVID. So move to Canada and smoke weed. Or don't. It's not totally true. But it does in fact null the effects of COVID. Ton of oranges and vegetables appeared on your door. Your girlfriend's family has some orchards. Oh my god. I wouldn't complain about free oranges. My mom and dad run a grocery racket at their business. I call it a grocery racket. It's not actually a racket. It's a totally logical thing. My mom and dad, they have a school for young children. That's the business that they run. So it's like 3 to 5 year olds or something. Very successful business, but they have snack every day, right? So parents are required to bring something at least once a week for snack, right? So like apples, peppers, cucumber, avocado, anything that kids could eat as a snack, oranges, mandarins, you name it, all that, like any kind of general like raw edible produce or fruits and stuff just shows up, right? The result is they always get more snack than they could possibly feed these kids, because kids don't eat that much. Like when you have, like, let's just say you have 20 kids, right? And you're guessing no nuts? Yeah, no nuts. Let's just say you cut an avocado. How many of those kids are going to eat avocado? Not many. Like, or like even like you slice 2 oranges and you have 20 kids. Maybe 2 kids have an orange slice or 2. Like, very limited amounts will be eaten. So they always have tons of leftovers. So I go over there once a week to clean the place as a side gig. And yeah, I almost never need to buy fruit for half of the year, because with the exception of like right now where like a lot of the kids aren't going to school because of Omicron, the coolest sounding variant. Apparently the next one's worse, but anyway, because of Omicron, a lot of families have been not going to school for the past couple of weeks. So because of that, there's been less, but like I almost never have to buy apples. Speaking of hearing things, how's Orange doing? What's up, dude? Donate Brussels sprouts? Profit? Yeah, exactly, right? Like, someone should just bring, like, uncooked Brussels sprouts so I can just get uncooked Brussels sprouts. That'd be great. But, like, I got, like, a dragon fruit once because somebody brought a dragon fruit. And it's like, my mom's like, I don't know what to do with a dragon fruit. I'm like, I'll take a dragon fruit. Fuck yeah, I like dragon fruit. I could never afford dragon fruit. Who on earth brought dragon fruit? But somebody brought dragon fruit. Yes. I do. Because there's a video game called Omicron. Omicron Conspiracy. It's a game on the Amiga. Anyway, I do say that as a joke, yes. I was also calling it Cybertron for a bit there. And there was a period of time where I was calling it Omegatron. And so, like, I've named it various Transformers. But, yeah, I generally call it Omnicron. The Deception variant. Yeah, the everything is fine, guys variant. Or the Decepticon. Delta. See, here's the thing. I want it to go back to being the Delta variant. Like, can we just, like, agree to just call it the Delta variant from now on? Because there's a part of town called Delta. And we also have, like, just outside of the greater Vancouver area, there's a smaller area called Kelowna, which is pretty far from here, actually. But Kelowna is, like, notorious for people not getting vaccinated. It's, like, the lowest vaccination rate in BC. So it's the Delta variant of the coronavirus was the joke in Vancouver, which to me is still the funniest fucking thing ever. Aren't able to say Omicron? It's not hard to say Omicron. It's just more fun to say Omnicron because it sounds like a Transformer. Delta's the worst one that popped up right after Omicron. Wait, really? I thought that Delta was... Or, okay, maybe Delta just hit us first. Because Omicron was definitely after Delta for here. Like Delta was like most of last summer for here. Apparently your employer wants you putting all of the food you consume working on his car. Nice employer. So that means that you're eating exclusively steak dinners. So actually, it sounds like your employer wants a lot of tax deductions is what. That. Yeah, I was going to say, like, the hot man seems correct here. I mean, not that I actually give that much of a shit. It's like just don't go outside, don't get sick, stay inside, pretend that you are even more of a loner than you actually are for all eternity. And get vaccinated. I don't really care what version it is. It's still bad. People thinking it's like, oh, it's a less bad variant just makes people complacent. Exactly helpful. Sounds like your employer isn't a piece of shit. I mean, you don't know that. But you're drinking a Bloody Caesar. I don't know how that's a tribute to Canada, but cool. Cheers. How is the new employer so far, aside from that they want you, like, to pay for all of the food that you consume while on the job? As a Canadian, I didn't know that. So it must not be that Canadian. I often get perplexed because people are just like, we're doing this thing. It's a Canadian thing. And I'm like, as a Canadian, I didn't know that. Very common. Well, it's just like when someone's just like, isn't drinking bags of milk a Canadian thing? It's like, well, one very tiny portion of Canada, yes, the rest of Canada, no. I just don't like mixed drinks, so it might be huge here. I don't know. There is another strain after Omicron. Also, since when are global... This is a pet peeve of mine, Merc. So I'm not going after you. But why do people consider talking about a global health crisis a politics thing? I've never fully understood that. Maybe I'm only 1/5 Canadian? Bitch! Don't you fucking at me like that. Second generation Canadian, thank you very much. I just don't drink mixed drinks, so. And all of the bars I go to are either whiskey bars or craft beer bars that don't generally make mixed drinks. And I don't go to cocktail places. And if I'm in a place that only makes mixed drinks, I generally will just drink vodka with ice cubes or whiskey straight. I'm just not a mixed drinks person. Well, that's not politics. That's like stupidity. So that's just like competing for each other's Darwin Awards. Numb-minded dumbness is not politics. That's just being stupid. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Canadian who agrees with politicians making rules about said health crisis and thinks that we should have more rules about said health crisis so that we survive. You should try Godfather. It's mostly whiskey. I mean, what are the ingredients in a Godfather? I mean, like, I like an old-fashioned, but, like, that's, like, the only mixed drinks that I will really go after are old-fashions and, old-fashions and gin and tonics. Yeah, you forgot the very... I was going to say, did you forget a not in that sentence? Yeah. No, I know what you mean. But, like, that is my biggest, like, annoyance since this literal fucking pandemic that we're in, or beyond that point now, is considered political drama to some people. It's like, dude, a fucking health crisis is not political. It's a health crisis. It's like saying that, well, like saying AIDS is a political crisis. Oh, fair enough. Yep. I don't believe I've ever had a brandy old-fashioned. I'm also kind of lying because if I'm really drunk, I like a, but I have to be drunk. I do enjoy a Moscow Mule, but I have to already be drunk. The fact that it is a political issue is mind-numbingly moronic to me, Knox. Has been great. You got back to your car Sunday. You went in earlier today and you cleaned off the snow from it. Oh, hell yeah. But yeah, glad to hear that the new employer has been good. Orange. That last one seemed kind of insufferable towards the end. You love a whiskey sour? I like simple mixed drinks. I don't like drinks that... Like, whenever people talk to me about booze, it's like I always just kind of state that, like, I don't really like mixed drinks, because I generally don't. But the mixed drinks that I do enjoy are very simple ones. I like a mixed drink that makes the alcohol taste more like alcohol and taste better versus mixed drinks that disguise alcohol. And a lot of mixed drinks are just kind of designed to make it more drinkable. Like, if it's a mixed drink that takes shitty alcohol and makes it just taste like candy, I don't want it. As an example. Nope. That's fine, King. But you're in my channel, which means you'll get my opinions popped into your eardrums occasionally. Fortunately or unfortunately. Well, this won't give you more hope for humanity, but... We're all gonna fucking die! I rest my case. They're building a film studio in space. I'm gonna type this in Twitch chat because I don't want to say it out loud. There you go. Like, I saw that on Twitter the other day, and I spat out my tea. I was laughing so hard. Unless it's muggy, in which case it's Mexican mules. Fair enough. That's been trending on Twitter in Canada for the past 5 days. So, it's a pretty good hashtag. Apparently they can block each other from using a table if there are more chairs around it. Really? Alright, maybe that's the issue. I'm just gonna look in the tavern for a second. Because, like, this is the way I have them laid out. Like, this one is claimed. It's like, maybe I need to redo all of my tables and chairs. I don't know. But, like, the long benches have never caused me problems. And, like, this staggered pattern has also never caused me problems in other forts doing it, like, this way. But maybe that's what's doing it. Like those staggerings. I don't know. Interesting. 3 picks and 2 crutches. We'll make 3 and 3. It's fine. Yeah, I'm also not familiar with that particular drink, Chubbs. You'd have choked on it because you're laughing so hard. It's pretty good, Mark. It's pretty good. It's one of those things where, like, just because of YouTube stuff, so I don't really want to say it out loud, but I will type it in Twitch chat. I guess, like, I'll just say this, King. I kind of hated humanity, and this is directed at King based on the comment from before. I kind of hated humanity before the pandemic. Now I despise it. That's what the last 2 years has done to me. Yeah, sure, Nox. Oh, man. Kind of want to see somebody doing that now. On a tire. Getting spicy today, aren't we? Also, I would like to just announce to everybody that Bandcamp Fridays return on, what's the date? February 4th, 4th of February. So in 3 days, this coming Friday, every single band in the world will make more profit for every thing sold on Bandcamp. So if you like artists, you like supporting music, buy music on Bandcamp on Friday. Yeah, that's fair, King. I can understand that sentiment. But as a disabled person, I couldn't disagree more. If I was still the way I was a couple years ago, where I wasn't concerned about getting the flu or anything, I'd probably be in the same boat at this point. But the way my health is, yeah, I kind of don't have an option, unfortunately. Because I have to act that way about the common flu, let alone something worse. Friend sent you 2 new bands that you loved? Well, if you want to buy their music on Bandcamp, buy it on Friday. Which is why it's frustrating for me, because I don't have the luxury or the option, unlike some people. It's like when shit gets bad here, it's like I get to the point where I have to get my parents to deliver groceries to me or order them. Like, I literally can't socialize with anybody. So I fucking hate this planet now. Don't want to live here anymore, but that we don't really have an option. Also, investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. Well, people that like either have birth defects or disabilities which make them susceptible to viruses, like myself, are all kind of stuck in that situation. So it's not exactly unique to me. So, like this year, hold on. Actually, I can tell you the number of times I've left the house this year. 1, 2. I'm looking at a calendar right now. 3, 4 times I've left my apartment. With the exception of a couple of trips to the coffee shop where they have they basically have a drive-through window set up now where you can get coffee from outside and you can order through their app. So aside from like trips down to the coffee shop, I've left the house 5 times this year. I don't really have an option. Quite literally. Why I'm high all the time. Nothing else to do. Yep, that's actually not wilderness. That's like a 30-minute drive from here. Like, we get a ride up there, we get dropped off, and then we take the shuttle bus back down, which is almost entirely empty most of the time. Plus, you need like double vax cards to get on the bus to begin with. But yeah, it's Mount Seymour if you want to look it up. It's a ski hill, but there's a lot of province property behind it where you can just snowshoe for free. So we go snowshoeing. That's why the rent in Vancouver is worth it. There's multiple mountains that are very close. You're free to hike around, assuming you can get to them. It's internet points that you accrue by watching the stream, Nox, and it's absolutely pointless and doesn't really benefit or do anything. It is now fall. Meaning the humans didn't show up to trade this year. Strange. We wait. Aim to save. I will say, though, that the past 2 years have made me more and more pissed off every year at the fact that I can't drive. It's like, I can't drive and will never be able to drive because of my eyes, right? But like, my God, the amount of money I would give to just be able to go for a drive by myself. Just go somewhere. It's like, I literally can't do that. Have ski levels of snow? That one always has, all of our mountains always have ski levels of snow. Unless like we have a weird hot spell, which happens sometimes. Yeah, I could take myself to the woods and then die by myself instead of with a friend. It'd be great. But yeah, no, the fact that I can't drive is what's made me such a fucking hardliner on this shit. And kind of not caring at all about other people's opinions as to whether or not people should take this shit seriously or not. Like, literally, because it's like, well, I am literally trapped in self-isolation for the last 2 years. If I could go outside, that'd be great. Time to screenshot stuff. Also, in regards to Twitch chat not being a good place to talk about shit, it's like Twitch chat's a fine place to talk about stuff. Assuming everybody is being civil. It's when people stop being civil that it stops being okay. Cheese. And a turkey gobbler. Been a while since we've had turkeys. I'll gladly take turkeys. Like humans. You can live my peacocks. Also put that boar in there. Why not? I can get uncivil fast. I can actually count on one hand the number of people I've had to ban over people being stupid about pandemic stuff in my chat in the last 2 years. I think it depends on what chat you're in. It's only when people start name calling that it becomes bad. At least in my experience. That might be wrong, though. Maybe it's changed, but it doesn't seem like it has. Where you'd be with your life? Very bored. That's, as somebody who is and doesn't have a driver's license, very fucking bored. Also, nobody likes to hire you if you don't drive. Our dependence on vehicles is one of the biggest problems with society. And the assumption that everybody wants to own one is also a huge fucking problem with society. I just want to just make more Krasdorf shops up here. So I kind of don't want to. What'd you miss? We're in Longdeath now. So just rambles. How was karate? Karate. I feel like everybody did karate when I was like in elementary school. And now I never, ever, 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 ever hear about it. In the other fort, we had a couple Forgotten Beasts. Or a Titan had a couple Forgotten Beasts. So that was fun. We got turkeys and a wild boar gifted to us by the humans in this fort. Nothing particularly noteworthy. We're mostly just clearing boulders and babbling. Nowadays, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, I don't talk with young people, so I don't fucking know what young people are doing. It's like I have my friend Kevin, and that's the only person I really talk to. Outside of that, it's just family. And none of them are, like, young enough to really do that. I guess, like, my future sister-in-law does pole dancing. It's, like, exercise and / hobby, but, like, that's the only, like, sporting activity that I know of that my family does. It's like, my older sister kayaks, but I used to kayak. So that's just kind of, like, an ongoing thing. The other fort and Titans? Yeah, we had 2 Titans and 4 Forgotten Beasts? You did Taekwondo? You did Taekwondo? The thing that everybody here did... Like, I was in judo for, like, 2 years when I was little. I say little because I was little. I was, like, babby tier. And I was so bad, I couldn't even, like... And my mom always insists it's because, like, I didn't, like, have enough time to get good. But I was so terrible that, like, kids would come in for, like, 3 months and already be able to just destroy me. Because I was just horrendously bad. I have, like, no hand-eye coordination. Ironically, I've never lost a fight. But I never won against anybody when I was in judo. Your household couldn't afford classes after a month? Ooh. That sucks. I want to say I did judo for like 2 or 3 years, and my favorite part of it was that we got to go to laser tag at the end of the year. Like, we got to go to the laser tag at the end of the year, and at the laser tag place, they had free play PCs that were all hooked up in a LAN where we could play StarCraft Brood War. And I want to say Command and Conquer 2? But I can't remember which Command and Conquer. I know it was a Command and Conquer, but I can't remember which Command and Conquer. Dwarves have arrived to trade. So we played a Command and Conquer. Couldn't tell you which. But we played a Command and Conquer and a StarCraft, and that was fun. Good times. A lot of used clothing to trade. So this is my first day kind of doing Other Fort at the beginning of the stream and Longdeath in the evening. To anybody who's been watching the stream for a bit, what do you guys think of this format? Assuming you were here for kind of the transition. You think it's, like, better than doing Longdeath as the majority? Thoughts? Any I don't know. You had to break boards in the cold by the beach early morning. Huh. For your end of the year martial arts ceremony? That sounds unpleasant. I mean, I don't know, man. But it doesn't matter to you. Fair enough, Lamont. Fair enough. You got here just before the transition. Fair enough. Trying to, like, figure out what works. But it is also, like, funky, because, like, we got raided by Kiri. Had a bit of a boost for the day, which is very nice. It was very funny because we were sitting here talking about spiders, and then we got raided by Kiri, and it's like Kiri is absolutely terrified of spiders. So it's just like, oh, okay, everybody shut up about spiders. And like moments before she raided us, it was just like, we're sitting here talking about spiders. We missed it, and now you have me on both screens? What? Why am I on both screens? Are you watching, like, the VOD as well as the stream? Because that seems confusing. Oh, another great thing about that laser tag place that we used to go to is they had the Simpsons arcade game. Like the beat 'em up. It was my first time seeing that game in person. I'd seen, like, screenshots of it in magazines before that, but that was cool. That was good times. So me and friends, we got to, like, pile up quarters and try and beat it by the end of the year and party. It was good times. That place is long closed, though. The thing about martial arts training is after a certain point, if you suck compared to everyone else in your class, you can defend yourself pretty well against anyone who comes at you without martial arts training. There's a reason why some judiciaries require you to register yourself as a weapon? Really? 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 Some jurisdictions require you to register yourself as a weapon? Okay. So it's just like the DayZ creator saying that he is a grenade. Anyway, Nil Tongues Dumont, the outpost liaison from the Mountain Home, says, "Let's discuss your situation. There's much to share. Information has been added to the map and world info, and we're going to request all of the cheese." Yeah, right? Really? Like, I believe it, but, like, that's wild. And I'm also going to request more rose gold and more black bronze. 10th degree black belt? I mean, I guess that Errol says, I look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together. Does that... I see pretty flowers in some Discord. Yeah, how do you register yourself as a weapon? It's like, does that mean that, like, I guess Bruce Lee would have had to register himself as a weapon. That's weird. I mean, so could mine. I don't need training to do that, Twitch ups. Slow epic music while you leave. I guess? I don't know. That's bizarre. I want to know what jurisdictions require black belts to register themselves as a weapon now. Hilarious that parts of Canada make you register your martial arts training. I mean, I'll just remind everybody that in all of Canada, it is illegal to have sled dogs on the sidewalk. They are considered a motor vehicle. On the topic of dumb Canadian laws. It's like more like buying a gun, but with extra steps. I would think that it would be less steps because you don't need to buy yourself if you are a weapon. You are just a weapon. You are just a weapon now. Also, another stupid law about Canada: if you own a pool in a place with neighbors, you are not allowed to skinny dip in your pool between the hours of 5 o'clock in the morning and 11:30 at night. You are only allowed to skinny dip in the middle of the night between 11:30 at night and 5 o'clock in the morning. During the day, you're not allowed to skinny dip in your own pool. You can be fined. It's illegal. It's another dumb Canadian law that I can think of. Same logic, every kitchen knife has to be registered, right? Or like the weeb sword that my ex used to own. That was sharp enough to hurt somebody if you hit him. I mean, you can illegally midday skinny dip. Not like anybody's gonna call police on you or anything. Kids are getting ready for school then, I guess. Maybe they had a pretty difficult murder case and only the hint from the corner was, this man was killed by the hand of a 7 golden and they started registering martial artists, I suppose. You need to go and run an errand. You have a good run for that errand. Audio. I said weeb sword. My ex had a really cheap katana. That was kind of sharpish. Which, like, if you would, because I did cut myself on it once out of curiosity, but like, if you would put your finger on it and run along the blade, you'd scratch yourself. I don't know if I'd describe a scythe as a pole arm. Because a pole arm is more of like a spear with a sword on the end. Speaking of like pole arms and weird weapons, when we had the cold spell, like 3-4 weeks ago now, when we had a ton of snow and everything was frozen solid. Hey, Nix. Thanks for the 29th month. I was going for a walk and public transit was breaking ice off of the trains using hockey sticks with mallets hockey taped to the end of them. So they had wooden mallets hockey taped to the end of hockey sticks. So they would bang the ice with the mallet and then scrape it off with the hockey stick. And every single transit employee I saw had one of those. Which means I like to think that somewhere on a budget bill, there's a bill for like 200 hockey sticks and 200 wooden mallets and a fuckload of hockey tape. It's Canada. Made me so happy when I saw that. You think of the Grim Reaper's scythe? I mean, that's the scythe that most people think of when people say scythes. Hey, they brought us a rose gold bar. Nice. I'll be back in a sec. You'd expect something more permanent? We don't generally get like snowstorms like that here very frequently. The area that I'm in, which is the Greater Vancouver area of British Columbia, Canada, is generally pretty mild on the snow front. If we get snow, it's not usually for a very long period of time. But yes, this is true. Sides are indeed grass cutters. Also, chat, literally nobody posted beer for Nyx's resub. Can I just get a round of beers? Just type in like the word beer, the my beers emote, or like the beers emoji. Lots of things work. Various different languages also work. There you go. And if you find one that doesn't work, and I can Google Translate it, make it work. Just have to verify it's real. And thanks for keeping that sub alive for a 29th month next. Cheers. Mead is not beer last I checked. I do have a wine emote. It's just not mushroom wine. It's for when chat whines too much. Giving stuff to them at this point. Make 2 crutches. Wood, crutch, 2. Also, to be clear, I'm not making every single one of those, you know, different types of beer work. Because that's just like arguing semantics at that point. Semantics. Kind of makes no sense. They're all just beer. Like a lager, a stout, an ale, and a pilsner are all just beer. It's like a ghost is a beer. Sour is a beer. Some of them get frightfully close to just juice, but still beer. Still counts. Aw. You guys want to see a really wholesome post on the Dwarf Fortress subreddit? Check this out. Person says, posts retirement, right? My wife and I are discussing the possibility of my developing Alzheimer's someday, hopefully in the far, far future. And she said that she'd put me in a home, and I started to protest. And then she said that she'd make sure that I would have Dwarf Fortress since it's so ingrained in my psyche. Is it wrong that I'm kind of looking forward to it now? She gets me, and she loves me. Gesundheit, Merc. Well, that's like the only thing that I have to respond to that with is like, bless you. They brought a duck and a cow. They brought another piggy. We'll buy the pig. It's put in a home for dwarves. I mean, worst places you could be. Boop. There we go. Then we have 2 piggies.
Out of meetings finally, and about time to get on the leaderboard.
Well, in that case, Rip Pie's place in number 3. Thank you, Rory, for the $3. Here's dude. That's a long set of meetings for the day. Jeez. But yeah, no, the LAN parties in the old folks' homes are going to be lit in a couple years. Actually, that's probably already happening, right? They've probably got, like... There's probably an old folks' home with a bunch of Amigas somewhere. That's got to exist, right? Dark and wholesome at the same time. Well, it's just like, if I ever got put in a home, I'd want to bring my record player. That sound... Was it, like, productive meetings, or were these, like... meetings where people stood around and did work? Certainly seems to be the latter in most cases. Looking for capital R. Most of them were productive, but a lot of the time not allowing you to do other work that you have to do. Felt like a Monday. That sucks. It's like me and my stream team, we have a meeting every other week, and it lasts for about an hour and a half. But we're also like just some people running a podcast and like a couple servers and a Discord server, so not exactly like the most stuff needs to be spoken of. The vast majority of the podcast work is me, which is why if you like the sound of my voice, you should go over to this website and listen to that podcast and leave us a review on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You hope that you can still use your laptop and remember how to do stuff you enjoy when you're old? Yeah, I know that feel. I don't think I'm going to live to being old, though. There's enough things wrong with me that I probably... It's just like yesterday when I was talking to my mom, I was like, in the off chance that I die, and like explaining like where to find my my pass protect key, which is basically just like the code that lets you get into all my passwords if you don't have my master password. It's like where to find it in my apartment. And she's just like, what? I'm like, well, you keep talking to me about your will. So thus it's only fair. If I die, this is how you get into my Steam account. Why would I want to do that? It's like, Steam accounts are valuable. Life's sense of humor, you wouldn't be surprised if you Reached a new record for the longest lifespan in history. Doubtful because men never make it that far. All of the oldest people in the world are women. By a lot, actually. List of the oldest living people. Yeah. So number one is somebody from Japan who's 119 years and 31 days old. And let's see, F. Okay, the 50th oldest person in the world is 111 years old and it's a man. So, born in 1910 in Malaysia. Are any of these people from Canada? Yeah, nobody on this entire list is from Canada. Oh, nope, there's one. There's one. 112-year-old. Oh, wait, never mind. I actually missed one. There is a dude who's number 31, who's 112, 251. In Venezuela? Oh, no. But yes, gents were screwed. But yeah, all of the oldest living people are women. The vast majority of them, anyway. This, aside from value ghost accounts are creepy somehow, there's a lot of ghost accounts that, like, you're not allowed to actually transfer to another person. Like an Apple account, for example. It's in their terms of service. If the owner of the account dies, nobody can take it. The account is just closed. Although ghost accounts are kind of strange because, like, somebody that I know who was a viewer of this channel, I know for a fact passed away in 2018. I'm still friends with him on Steam, and his account is just a memorial. It just, like, the description just says passed away, like the day that he passed away and, like, what he passed away of, which was stomach cancer. And it's just, like, looking at that is weird because it comes online every now and again. It's like, I know it's just, like, family members on that computer, but, like, once in a blue moon, like, I'll see that account online and I'm like, that's creepy. If she can still like video games, yeah. I mean, like, how much is my Steam account worth? Where's that calculator? How much is my Steam account worth here? Steam calculator. Yeah, it's Steam database. Maximum possible value is $6,260. That's almost... My record collection is getting terrifyingly close to that. Actually. Still checking Steam sales in the afterlife, right? Hey, Sayonara Wild Hearts is a fantastic fucking game with a great soundtrack, and Flower is also good, so... Like, seriously, that's good taste right there. Sayonara Wild Hearts was an excellent hour and a half. It was an excellent hour and a half. And I'm probably never going to play it again, but fantastic hour and a half. You should give her Unpacking. See what she thinks of Unpacking. Music is like the whole game. So yeah, of course the music is great. I don't know. The kids right now are so fucking lucky. Because there's like an abundance of absolutely incredible games out right now. Oh, geez. Athros, the dwarven child, has been taken by a fey mood. Oh, geez. Oh, this is interesting. Must have been watching all of the clothes being made because this dwarf just claimed a clother's shop. I can't remember the last time we had an artifact in this fort that wasn't like just a crafts dwarf shop. It's a mature game. I mean, it's a love story, but it's no more mature than like anything that you'd see on TV, but I suppose. I think that like you're better off playing something like Unpacking than Grand Theft Auto, and lots of children play Grand Theft Auto. But that's your prerogative. What else do you want? Rock blocks, rough gems, got it. Bones? Probably. Disorderly conduct, excuse me? Oswix, I believe it. Put him in prison. Watery unicorn. I mean, disagree, but whatever. I mean, like, that game is fascinating in its ability to have different meaning based on your life experiences and allowing the player to craft a narrative based on what they've experienced in life. Which, to me, it's kind of like you get what you take away from it. But I also think that I'm never going to have kids, so don't fucking ask me about what kids should and shouldn't be able to do, but I see nothing wrong. 15-year-old playing and packing. So, in fact, I know like a podcaster I listened to was talking about how his kid, who's like 6, was playing through Unpacking on repeat. So, I don't know. Disagree, but you do you. Oswix is getting beaten up. Apparently had a tantrum, which I somehow missed. Is that all you got? Was a beating? Yep, just a beating. Okay. Well, we should keep following that kid. Waiting on a dwarf to slaughter a unicorn. I haven't moved a few times. I've been homeless. I've all right, let's see. I've moved house with family twice. I lived in an apartment for a bit, and then it became unlivable. Lived in a garage for a bit. Lived with my ex for a bit. Lived at another place for a bit. Lived in a shelter for a bit. Slept outside for a bit. And then moved in here and haven't moved for ages because fuck moving. So I've done my fair share of moving. It was just done in a very short period of time. So don't you tell me what I can and cannot get holy about that game. You meant your teen kid, not you. I mean, I understand that after reading your next line, but like, here's the thing, right? Whatever. This is a mute point argument. Hypocrisy is a very human thing. I mean, I don't think that the violence in Grand Theft Auto is like a concern in the slightest. I think the business model of GTA 5 is a concern. So like when it comes to like kids playing Grand Theft Auto in and of itself is fine. Like Vice City is about as silly as you can fucking get. 5 is also pretty fucking silly. It's like no different than me watching a violent movie at 12, which I did my fair share of. But like the business model of those games are fucking nightmarish. You just would be one. Yeah. I think most parents are hypocrites to a point. Most people who give people advice too, like me saying don't do drugs, kids, is like the most hypocritical thing that I could possibly say. Do all of the drugs, just in small amounts and portion sizes that you can tolerate without your brain exploding. Like I said, this discussion is a moot point argument because I completely disagree with your statement of it having themes that are too adult for a 15-year-old. But I also know how much of an adult I was at 15, and I don't know your kid. So it's a moot point argument at this point. Like there is no discussion. Like I completely disagree that it's too mature, that unpacking of all things is too mature for a 15-year-old. But then again, at 15, I was way more mature than most 15-year-olds. So, no, because I haven't been in a school in like a decade. Anthony, what is this? Is this like some people trying reverse psychology or something? What metal is that? Lead bars? Did you have to use lead? Yes. But I would say it's safe to say that no, I haven't heard the Do Drugs campaign. I don't understand how that's a problem. Which ups? Unsmithy, they're like in the context of relationships, there's some adult themes. In the context of like living situations changing and having to move back in, and there's plenty of adult themes in that game. But I don't know. We were talking about someone's kid who doesn't particularly like video games, and I was like, give them unpacking, and then they're like, no, that's too adult for a 15-year-old, which I disagree with. And we've just been kind of going back and forth in that statement. But the statement that I'm making, Twitch Ups, is that some things flying over a person's head is not a bad thing. You know, like trying to think of an example here. Like, here's a stupid example. I watched Shrek when that movie was brand new, like right as it came out of theaters, because I was a little kid at the time. Didn't understand 99% of the jokes in that movie. It's a very different movie as an adult. Should I have not watched Shrek as a, like, little kid? Eh. Does Shrek have adult themes? Yeah. But, you know. Or your vacation being canceled by your boss? Well, as my own boss, I do cancel my vacations almost as often as I book them. I don't know. Like I said, Chaps, I think that this is just a pointless discussion that's just going to go in circles forever. Because, like, I get what you're saying with the, like, mature themes that are in that game. That game definitely has mature themes. But also, this is a pointless discussion, so whatever. Oh, I definitely, like, degraded in maturity in my early 20s. For, like, 2 years. They censored the crap out of it and you're pissed? What? Censored the crap out of what? I gave that game to my little sister for Christmas on Smithy, and she has played, like... uh-oh, we got baby peacocks that I need to slaughter. I gifted that game to my little sister for Christmas, and she has enough hours in it, based on her Steam stats, to have finished it about 12 times at this point. So, I think she's just, like, going through and rebuilding it. This is my fortress. This is a fortress that I'm keeping alive for 1,000 years. So this fortress is on year 373. We started on year 5, meaning fort is 368 years old, meaning it basically auto-plays itself. I just have to do upkeep occasionally. I could automate it to just run itself by itself, but... where did they censor the crap out of Shrek? Oh, you were watching it on Nick or something? Oh, okay, I get you. I get you. Athros II, the Dwarven child, has created Tingles? And in Thankaris? I don't even know. And I also don't even know what a hold on. Gotta Google a thing. What the fuck is that? CHAUSSE. The hell is that? It's a medieval term for leggings. Apparently. What? All right, then. Manager if-then statements, yeah. You can, like, I think there's actually at least one live right now. Hold on, let me check Twitch. Give me a sec. Yeah. There is one live right now. Here's a link to a fully automated fortress. It's also very slow and boring. Although I think currently it's running... currently it's running arena mode stuff. But often that stream runs 24/7 ports. Anyway. He claims it as an heirloom name in the family ancestor Kolthos Guild Skulls. Skills? It's worth 32,400 Zethal. And it is Forked Fin the Third Dead Negator. All right. This is a pigtail chasse. I don't even know how to say that. All Craftsdwarf ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with round pyrolusite cabochons and rectangular granite cabochons, and is decorated with pigtail and unicorn bone. It is made from pigtail cloth, and this object menaces with spikes of hiccups. Maple. On the item is an image of giant minks in rock crystal. On the item is an image of a bull in lead. The bull is screaming. The artwork relates to the slaughter of a bull in Longdeath in the mid-autumn of 315. On the item is an image of Nil, Conjuruff the dwarf, and worms in Jasper. Nil Conjuruff is surrounded by the worms. Nil Conjuruff is terrified. That is my outpost liaison who is terrified of worms. That is very funny. And I know that he's terrified of worms because he said it once when he was visiting. That is kind of amazing. The decoration is quite creepy. Yeah, but also kind of amazing. All right, well, I guess we need to find a place to put that. Screaming animals are pretty common as decorations on artifacts in this fort, just because we slaughter so many animals. And it's one of the more noticeable things that happens. So it's pretty common as a thing. Where are you? Ah, there it is. That kid's a weirdo. He feels gratitude. I mean, it's Athros, so you can tell him that he's a weirdo. He feels gratitude remembering being rescued and feels satisfied after creating an artifact and feels satisfied upon improving clothes making. He's 1 year old, so I don't know if he's that much weirdo. He feels a strong sense of duty, is friendly, and always tries to say nice things to others. Enjoys the company of others and tends to be a little wasteful when working on projects. Tends to be a bit stubborn and changing his mind about things, and doesn't mind wearing something special now and again. He tends to ask others for help with difficult decisions. And he is quite ambitious, and he is quick to anger and doesn't handle stress well. He is quick to form negative views about things and needs alcohol to get through the working day, and he does mind being outdoors, at least for a time. Does not mind being outdoors, at least for a time. Doesn't seem like that weirdo. Seems like actually like an above normally nice dwarf. Just makes artwork about slaughtering bulls and scary things. It's quite a metal album cover. You know, slaughtering bulls is probably on some metal cover. That's all. Well, actually, no, I'm not even gonna go googling. I was gonna try and find one, but maybe that's not show people. Really bothers me when emails get my name wrong. There's this one company that sometimes sends me emails and they blend my first and middle names together without a space. I don't know how they broke that in their formatting, but it's real annoying when I see it. Also, investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. Make sure to let them into art school. I don't know what you're insinuating, but I don't think this fortress has an art school. You got quiet at the cover. Tremors is such a good movie. Tremors is the first Tremors I rewatched in 2020, and that was that's a good movie. That's still a good movie. That's a great movie, even. I used to say that Kevin Bacon carried that movie, but investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. But no, that's just a good movie. Damn, you placed a lot of cool skeletons in a scene, and now you really should remove them. They don't fit well with the narration. I mean, why is deleting skeletons like kicking a puppy? I don't think I've played games where I've had to play skeletons before. Roller Coaster Tycoon, there's a skeleton. Sometimes I place them a lot. Why is deleting skeletons like kicking a puppy? Like destroying the thing you love? Is that what you're saying? I mean, then there's only one logical thing, which is add more skeletons. Then don't, but I kind of agree with Anthony here. It's like, I too like skeletons, but like, it could be skeletons of puppies. True. You make a valid point that I hadn't contemplated. In an abandoned supercomputer complex? Fair. But only if they send shivers down your spine, though, Anthony. That's the thing. They can't be spooky, scary skeletons unless they send shivers down your spine. The shivers down your spine is kind of important. Oh, we're saving, meaning we're in winter, I think. You know what this reminds me of? The aesthetic of this reminds me of a video game. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I know there was the it lurks below. The one that I told you about, the thing in the well or whatever. There's another one, and I'm trying to. I might just be thinking of Ruiner, actually. Maybe it's because of all the red. This game. Yeah, it's Ruiner is what I'm thinking of. Just because of the red that you have on this. Yes, that is what I'm thinking of. Area 58? No idea what that be. It does look like the intro to a super stylized video game, though. Which is not a bad thing. The script goes in another direction. I see only one logical thing to do, Chups, and that's add more skeletons. I think that we as the chat like completely agree that the only natural thing to do in this case, if they look out of place because there's too many skeletons, is just add some more and see how that fits. And then once you've got no, this is way too many skeletons, then remove half of them back to where you were before. What is Chups talking about? That short film that they're working on, which was linked in the chat a couple of minutes before you asked that question, Anthony. Address the skeletons in the sequel. I like this logic too. And you may be wondering why there was so many body. It's the moment. Yes. Yes, my brain switched on. Ding, 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 ding. King wants more crutches. Malfunctioning robots and giant toxic mushrooms kind of give you a clue. Do they? Not to be super like off or anything, but I don't know what that means because it could mean anything. That's so much black bronze, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Also, Twitch ups, you mentioned Flower earlier, and now all I want to do is play through XO1 again. I've played through that game 4 times since I got it. Such a fucking fun game. It's so ridiculously low maintenance, it's actually kind of silly, but to the point where like I've seen people refer to it as a non-game, which I think is kind of sad, but also I get it. You love the tiny wings mechanics? Do they still have a demo for XO1? I mean, it's on sale right now. I mean, it's about 2 hours long. It's ridiculously short, but I really like it. I think like the only complaints I've seen about it is like it's really short and it's very minimal with on the mechanics front. Like it's very much like a speed run route optimization game about like getting to the end goal as quickly as possible, but like you don't have to play it like that. Like you can just fucking meander and have a good day. How about this? How about it's mushrooms growing in the shape of skeletons? Just saying. You ever make custom grass in Dwarf Fortress? If not, just spread ashes of a creature on the grass tile and wait for it to grow. Boom, grass creature. Wait, what? I don't think that's how that works. Do you like weird space sci-fi? Actually, do you like 2001: A Space Odyssey? And also, do you like Marble Madness? Because if you like those two things, you'll really, 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 really enjoy XO1. Because that's like the two things that game is. It's like someone took 2001: A Space Odyssey and Marble Madness and made a baby. You think of a mycelium network wrapped around a skeleton's bones with mushrooms growing inside the spine? It's true. Such a good aesthetic, though, Mark. Where did my black bronze go? Black bronze, black bronze, black bronze. There. You got dog grass by a dog melting into ash in a grass tile. I'm disturbed by that sentence. I just would like you to know. Also, you have a good night, past 10. I am very disturbed by that sentence. Someone just get married? No. But yeah, I recommend EXO 1 to people who like games like Journey and Abzu. But I don't know. I would actually be down to just stream through all of EXO 1. That would probably bump me up by another 2 hours. That would be, let's see, I'm almost at 9 hours of stream on the day. Like 11 hours of streaming? No, it's like melancholic space guitars, which is like my favorite, or one of my favorite things. I mean, I don't mind some like pumping, ravey beats, but no, that game's all like melancholic, sad space weed, intergalactic, like space psychedelics. It's great. Space weed and marble madness is EXO 1. I can't find my black bronze again. Where the heck did it go? I hate my eyes. Yeah, you dipped it into magma somehow and got it out. It turned to ash, and as soon as it did, on grass, it started a fire. And you had to put it out, and then while the grass regrew, it's dog grass. Can you screenshot this, please? Because I know about, like, material contaminations and stuff. But that's distressing. I'm sure it was, Merc. I'll never see it. Also, to anybody who's wondering what game I'm talking about. I'm talking about this game. Very short. Very short. Very short. But very pleasant journey of a video game about being an intergalactic space marble. It's pretty great. It's also like a destroyer of bit rates. It's a fun destroyer of bit rates. Yeah, screenshot it, and if you're in the Discord, post it in the Dwarf room, because I've never seen that before. I believe you. I want to see how the game words it exactly. Abzu is such a small and lovely game. Only game where you befriend a shark. You love that shark? Well, first the shark is scary. And then you realize shark is not so scary. And then shark is Fran. Bloody great game. It's dog tooth grass, not dog grass. Yeah, I still want to see a screenshot of it though. Because depending on how the game's wording it might just be contaminated grass, not actually dog grass. It might just be grass with a dog tooth on it as well. I want to see how it's worded. Because depending on how it's worded, it might not be that weird. Or it could be really weird. One of the two. Early winter. 19th of Moonstone. Well, this has sped things up pretty considerably. We're gonna place another workshop right there. Make a few more of these things. So this stream and the skeleton tips. If you ever think about removing skeletons, just add more skeletons. It'll be fine. Doesn't matter if it doesn't fit in the shot. Just call it artistic enhancement. Abzu is pretty... Abzu is wonderful. Like, how much is Abzu right now? Yeah, like, what, $7? Fantastic game for $7. Oh yeah, they also released another game, which I have yet to play, which is actually like hugely discounted right now, which is The Pathless. Is that game any good? Because I never played that. Someone says in the reviews that you can pet a bird, which means it must be great. I forgot about that game. All right. Rock, crafts, repeat. What was that? Trying to put them in very convenient areas close to a lot of boulders so that they work on the boulders. And then it's just going to be a slow progress of removing all of the crafts. I'll remove those two. Replace them with up there. Dwarves are running down into the basement to construct furniture. Or construct buildings. Unicorn made a baby unicorn. Are there any RPGs where you can be an interesting non-combat professions like painter and sculptor? I mean, the knee-jerk response to that, like non-combat RPG, would be Disco Elysium, but I don't play a lot of RPGs, so I don't know. I mean, maybe MMOs. MMOs, you can be pretty, like, non-combative. D&D, yeah. Like, mostly like, more business-oriented games that are very focused on crafting. Shopkeep, I guess, yeah. Racketeer. Oh, actually, no, Racketeer has combat. Aside from Sims, that's not really an RPG, but yeah, I mean, like what old guy's saying. Like, there's a lot of older CRPGs. Also, hi by the way, where you can kind of get out of combat with simply having really good speech stats, which is usually the sign of a good RPG. They don't make those very often anymore. Plane Shift was trying to be... I don't even know what that is. I'm not a huge RPGs person, so... I mean, Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode can be totally non-combat if you want. You can just hang out in a town and write poetry all day. Build a house. But, like... most modern RPGs aren't actually RPGs. Most of them are like action-adventure games with RPG elements. Like Skyrim, not an RPG. It's an action-adventure with RPG elements. It's just kind of a fact. So, Although a game that I haven't gotten around to playing it, but really want to, is this. It's a game that you close your eyes to play. It has no visuals outside of some, like, the options menu. All audio design. Yeah. Well, actually, Undertale, you can do a mercy run where you don't kill anybody. You like golfing with a heavy metal flail in adventure mode? Absolutely. But like you could also play adventure mode as like a non-combat pacifist where you just run away from things and hang out in town and just live your life. You could absolutely do that. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, Anthony. Just trying to think of other like RPGs. I just ended up on a really random website that is not very useful. Thanks, Gizmodo, for not being useful. So I'm on gamespressure.com, which has best RPGs for pacifist runs and completion without killing. Fallout, yes. Which is kind of funny because it has Fallout 1 as the screenshot and then Fallout 3 is the last screenshot. Undertale's the second one. Is that even, I mean, I guess it's probably possible in like in Fallout 3, but Disco Elysium, yeah, already mentioned that. What else do we have on this stupid clickbait article? Deus Ex, yeah, you can just stealth your way through Deus Ex. I've never played Alpha Protocol, but apparently Alpha Protocol. Apparently Age of Decadence. Planescape Torment, yeah, we already mentioned that one. Morrowind, obviously. Apparently Postal's an RPG. Something called Game Deck, which actually, remember, that came out recently. Didn't it? That's not an RPG, you stupid website. Is that even out yet? Nope, not out yet. Age of Decadence? Yeah, that is a video game. You can speech check the final boss in Fallout New Vegas. Huh. No, a pen and paper game where that, that's probably, I only ever played it as a combat heavy game, but I feel like that's probably possible in the Shadowrun games. Man, this is depressing. I've been Shadowrun on Steam and Shadowrun doesn't pop up. There we go. Also, the Shadowrun trilogy is very cheap right now. Holy shit. That's cheap. Games are $5 a pop. Gosh. Talk about fucking value. Up into midwinter. Did I do this one? Yes, we did. Really civilian run and Shadowrun? I mean, Shadowrunners are black operatives after all. Sculpting or farming is not exactly Black Ops work. Yeah, but you can talk your way out of a lot of things in that, but like I said, I don't know. $18 for the entire collection of Shadowrun and DLC. Yeah, that's a really good deal. Like, ridiculously good deal. I want to know what Harebrained Schemes is working on right now. I found a post from earlier this year, which is just like, what are they up to right now? And this is what Harebrained Schemes is up to, which is the projects are secret and it's not BattleTech 2. Sad days. Well, I will be waiting until the sequel for BattleTech for a while, I suppose. I mean, there's a lot of games that are worth full price that people refuse to buy because they're too expensive. Mech Warrior? That new Mech... I mean, Mech Warrior Mercenaries with that DLC that they put out, actually kind of great. It's kind of great. Just saying. It's kind of great. Also, Mech Warrior 5 currently... How much is it with DLC? Like $50. Maybe not $50, but like... I don't know. They do have 2 DLCs out for that game again, so it's kind of expensive again. Oh, I see. There's a new expansion pack coming. It's out, apparently. Yeah, no, I mean, that game's all right. It's all right. It's not amazing, but it's better than I thought it would be. Anyway, welcome back, Orange. Pen and paper game where you can actually be a sculptor or a mechanic or a gem cutter or a baker or a blacksmith, but it's German and it's pen and paper and probably not as just as question, but you wanted video games, I presume. Yeah, I don't know. I am bored shitless of games that are just like violence. Like, yo, there's other shit you can do in life. I think that's a sign that I've just been playing games too long, you know? I read The Mystery of Excision, and that was satisfying. Hell yeah. And I know I'm not the only person who's bored shitless of violence in games. It's like, there's other things to do in games that isn't just murder everything. Oh, actually, well, I mean, probably kind of doesn't quite meet the question, but... Oh, yes, violence. How original. Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, Ims. Besides just craft 100 things to the max. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Because, like, all the games that are non-violent just end up being, like, absolute fuck-off nightmare factories full of nothing but just, like, not something I want to partake in. It's just, like, there was a lot of people around the time, what's it called? Around the time New World came out, they were just like, "Oh, it's an MMO that you can get around combat." And it's like, well, it's all crafting. And I took one look at how the crafting system works. I was like, that seems grindy and insufferable. And I was like, lost all interest at that point. But you know, then there are people who like that kind of gameplay apparently. So to play a town fair with all kinds of music with their pen and paper group. Really? Your favorite mech warrior was the moment your buddy's brother had like 9 PPCs on a chassis for the first time, and he fired them all, and the whole thing exploded. Excellent. Wait, which mech warrior was? Oh, the tabletop. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's like insta overheat, core meltdown. Oh. I'm wondering, are you thinking of Rumu? Or are you thinking of something else? Hold on. Because I know of this Roomba game where you are a Roomba in the house trying to figure out why there's tomato sauce. Yes, on the ground. Okay, you're thinking of something else. Now I'm curious, what game are you talking about? Because that's the only Roomba-focused game that I'm familiar with. Oh, Hackmud. Wait, you play as a Roomba in Hackmud? What? I mean, I'm familiar with Hackmud, but you're a Roomba in Hackmud? Pardon? Huh. All right. Going by everything you've seen, basically, yes. Okay. Considering Roombas are like the most obnoxious, worst inventions that humanity's come up with in the last couple decades. They're a tripping hazard, they smear animal feces everywhere, and they, do nothing really of value. If you want to, like, convince yourself to never get a Roomba, especially if you have pets, just look up videos of them smearing dog poop all over the entire house. It's kind of, amazing/terrible. Could be a toaster or something, but any group you're a part of in Smash calls them. The story is called Robovax. Huh. All right. Yeah, I've never played Hackmud. I'm just familiar with its existence. That can just deal with it? I mean, you're the one with robotic in your name, Ronald, so you'd probably know. More about this than me. I just know that I've seen many videos on YouTube of them like running over dog poop and then just like spreading dog poop. Because they're just a vacuum cleaner that drives around, so if they get something stuck to the bottom of them. Like, slightly gross image incoming, so maybe dodge. A Roomba mop to clean up after your normal Roomba? That seems kind of dumb. I just have this thing called a broom. It's called a poopogram, actually. Not a pentagram. Poopogram. Come on, please. It summons the shitlords of the internet. Slightly better than Satan, but... That's both adorable and disgusting at the same time. Yep. Brooms and a shop vac. I have a small hand vacuum for vacuuming the carpet around my computer, and a broom, and a mop. And I'm Sweep once a week, I vacuum once a week, and I mop once a week. It's one of those things where it's just like, that's just going to end up in a landfill eventually, so I don't see the point in making them. Green shots up. Ooh, yay. Dog's tooth grass. Damn. You are correct. That is distressing. I hate it. But also, that's awesome. You should post about that on the subreddit, because that is weird. I've never seen that. But on the other hand, your dog shit in the house for this to happen. I mean, it's like, yes, it is gross, just some old guy, but also train your dogs better. And take your dog for a fucking walk. Come on. That dog must have made excellent fertilizer. Oh my god. You got a Roomba for your elderly grandmother who lives on a single floor house? When I'm an elderly granddad, do not buy me a Roomba because I will die on it. I will trip on it and I will die. The 2 times I've been in houses with Roombas, I've damn near tripped over both of them. The only good Roomba the only reason for Roombas to exist, period, is so that one guy on YouTube could make that video about that Roomba that screams whenever it bumps into things. That one dude that made the Roomba that screams in agony when it bumps into walls. Like, oh god! Ah! Ah! Just on repeat. That's the best Roomba, I have to say. Right, him? Yeah, like that one viral video that like everybody on the internet has seen because it's just brilliant. Brilliantly well done. That's the actual reason for the Roomba to exist, is so that video got made. This is cleaning up. I think this is going to take like another 4 or 5 years to clear. Used to go in and vacuum for her, but COVID, yeah, that makes sense. Like a headhunting fleet of quadcopters? Do I want to ask what that means? I've seen a couple of his videos, but this is going to become a dramatically massive scale obsidian maker. So I already have all the stuff to dump lava in here, and I also have a water chute where I could dump water in here. So we're going to fill half a Z level up with lava on the bottom, and then dump water on it. You don't know how to post pictures to the subreddit? The same way you posted it on Discord, but also forums are fair. I think you can actually just like link the Discord link. I'm going to rebuild the top half of the fort in obsidian. So right now the top half of the fort, all the way up here, this whole area, is mostly made out of gneiss and mudstone. I want to replace all of this mudstone with obsidian and then start working on the upper walls. Basically, I want to rebuild the walls in obsidian. It's easily worth 50 euro though. It took you so long to load the sites. Oh, it's all good. Did the site break for you briefly? That sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, people can trip and fall anywhere in Dwarf. They don't generally do that, though. Why is Obsidian particularly slippy? I'm just hoping that they'll make better RPGs if we put Obsidian everywhere. It was a joke about a video game developer. Oh, that sucks. Infinity. I hope that improves. Vote ban. Can't ban me from my own house. You can tune out, though. Which be sad. I'm that guy who makes a bad joke while at his apartment, and the person who's over at my apartment, which doesn't exist because people don't come over to my apartment, looks at me and says, Greg, get out of my house. And then I get out of their house. And then I'm like, wait a second, that is my house. Well, any polished stone is slippy, in my experience. House cats in this pandemic, right? Well, actually, that's not true. My dad comes over occasionally. Very infrequently. Maybe like once every other month. Comes over and we listen to records for a bit. Records, tapes, and CDs. Time. Yeah, Twitch has been kind of slow on the loading front recently, I've noticed. Run and slide on the polished stone. God, I wish. Kids should do... The little kid dwarves should do that. They should have little sprint races. I wonder, do you guys have friends? Kid dwarves should, like, glue each other to each other so that they become friends. Like that kid who's duct taped to the ceiling in the LAN party in that one photo. That also everybody's seen. Another crutch and 2 more pick. So weird. Like hide and seek or tag. The small, I say small features, they're probably not small features, but the features that Tarn has talked about a couple of times that I really want to see implemented is the bar games and expanded diplomacy. Those are the 2 things I want to see. But kids playing games would also be awesome. I like that kids can hang out in fact, actually, I've already seen it happen now that I think about it. This dwarf made an artifact that was clothing because I noticed that the dwarves were hanging out in here a bunch, right? In this area, or the kid dwarves were anyway. So I made this area into a clothesmaker's guild hall. And so now children standing in this area will gain skill in clothes making. What, hide and seek? It would definitely be a frustration device. But welcome back, audio. Potential dwarven water slide. You can make a dwarven water slide now. You just need to dedicate. Auto-modded it down and it appealed it. Yeah, I mean, if it's a legitimate post, so it should be fine. Auto-mod gets a little trigger happy sometimes. Like, there's been times where my posts have been, like, auto-modded on the subreddit, and I just DM one of the mods, like, fix this! And he's like, I already did. Well, I mean, to train dwarves in swimming, you just need water that's not filled to the brim. If you fill water to the brim, yeah, you're going to have casualties if you dump dwarves in that. But as long as it's, like, 3 of 7 full, they'll learn to swim and they won't drown. Fun fact. I mean, if dwarves can make roller coasters, they should be able to make water slides, you know? Roller coasters are just mine carts. Not if you regulate the pressure and slope, then it would just be good swim and medical training. Potentially. Three to 4. Yeah. I accidentally did that once. I had a cavern layer that was perpetually draining. So the entire lake just sat at 3 to 4. And there was a point where, because of the draining, which I accelerated for a brief period, I had a small patch of land that I could just build on. So I built a bunch of weapon racks on the ground and then reflooded it. And told my dwarves to train in there, and they just dove in and stood in the water and started training, and then climb out to go to get food. They didn't like it. They weren't particularly happy, but they got real good at swimming. Is this a streamathon? No, this is just a Tuesday. I mean, if you want to pay me extra money, I'll keep streaming, but... I mean, how many hours do I stream? Let's see. Channel insights, analytics, hours. Okay. So let's see. On Sunday, I streamed 9 hours. On Saturday, I streamed 7.5. That was a short day. On Thursday, I streamed 7. That was a short day. Wednesday last week, I streamed 10 hours and 45 minutes. Tuesday, I streamed 9 hours and 7 minutes. Sunday last week, I streamed 11 hours and 36. 7.5. Yeah, it's usually between like 7.5 to like 12 hours. 5 days a week. And thanks for chucking out a 5-pack of subs. You nailed 3 people who are chatting right now, or have been chatting in the last hour. So cheers. And also audio. Thanks for the $1.34. That's probably why. Yeah, I mean, I stream long hours. I mean, I justify it because like I don't have a commute. Right? Like, most normal people have at least, like, a 30-minute commute. And let's just say that your lunch break isn't paid, so you work 8 hours plus 30 minutes for lunch. Then, and plus 30 minutes for a commute, that's at least 9 hours. So it's not ridiculous for me to just, like, stream 10 hours. And that's assuming you can get straight home after work and don't have to stay late or anything. Like, back when I had a normal job, I would frequently be out of the house for 11 hours a day. You have an extremely early morning. You have a good night, Merc. I hope that your extremely early morning goes well. You may have to refresh to... Oh, actually, no, you don't need to refresh, but the C is lowercase. Christeth. But cheers. We're into late winter. I mean, we're also kind of winding down over here too, but if anybody's sitting on a resub or a prime sub, you could automatically hype train that. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I stream a lot less now than I used to. There was a good long period there where I did 24-hour streams once a week. I used to do a 24-hour stream every Thursday into Friday. I don't know how I did it, to be honest. It's now the 1st of spring. And I'm out of coffee. Sad days. Also, Big Patch is coming to Caves of Cud soon. So whenever that launches into the main branch, we're going to need to play some more of that. Just saying. If anybody here is going, man, when's Blind going to play some Cud? Pretty soon, probs. Pretty soon. And, oh no. I think my broker just died. Yeah, my broker just died. Someone died of old age. Give all of this to my mayor for right now. What does my king want? And crutches. Also, a human has arrived to donate stuffs. Also, chat investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. $40 type train it if you want. My broker died of elderly age. In fact, it was Kobe. Kobe, the one from YouTube, who asked for a dwarf in Longdeath. Shoutouts, Kobe. You had a good life. It was a short one, but broker got deaded. Rest in peace. Broker busted, kind of. But thanks for the 5-pack of subs of Old Guy and Cheers Audio for the $1.34. It's a very blue door, that. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes I'll be in like meetings and or relatively recently I was in a meeting with the team, and I think almost all of us were in the meeting, and Kiri mentioned something about there being too many games and how she doesn't have time to play all of them. And I was like, well, if there's too many games, just like play half of one game, or play like half of your stream of one game and then swap to a different game, or like maybe swap to 3 games in a day. And she goes, Blind, I stream for 5 hours. If I play 3 games, that's like less than an hour and a half per game. And I'm just sitting there going like, I didn't imagine streaming that little. It's like, I feel like I would just get mad at myself if I played that little, because I'd feel like I was just getting started. Like, I don't know how I would do that. I have improved my stone crafting. Satisfying. Well, I'm glad that was satisfying, Diamond. Also, the fort is now officially 360 nice years old. 369. It's time to Skype some loved ones. People still use Skype? You must really love them. Not even like moving them over to the more modern and definitely secure cough Zoom. I don't think I love anybody enough in the world to fucking have a like Skype call. You use Skype at work because it feels bad? Oh, well, Discord's fine. Much better. communications applications on your phone beyond texting and voice calling. Yeah. Humanity needs an intervention on that front, but unfortunately, it's just such a good way to harvest data off of people that it's kind of unavoidable for big companies to not make a chat app. And then for each app, there's equal parts in the opposite direction. They're like, we don't steal your data or whatever the fuck. We use it for nothing. But chat, you know, that's, 9.5 hours of stream? I think it's time for me to save and go figure out some pasta for dinner or something. This has been a fun sesh. Today is the kind of first test of, like, doing 2 forts in one day. We'll do another run of this tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be starting off with Umber Bulwark, working on that fort a little bit, and then maybe retiring it and running an adventure or two around and see what we can do. Because, like, that other world, my plan is to have multiple forts running, and then run adventures back and forth and do, like, self-described missions between the 2 forts or 3 forts or 4 forts or whatever I end up doing. So that's kind of the plan for that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Dwarf Fort this week. Maybe do some other stuff on the weekend. But if you want to hear more of my voice, there's a link to my podcast, which has me and my whole team on it. So if you want to listen to me talk more now that I'm going away for the evening, you could listen more there. If you want to watch more of things that I do, there's a link to the YouTube channel. And if you want to support me